Hey, Dee, have you been watching the Olympics?
Not very much.
Me neither. I've seen a few snippets when I've gone to eat, like in sitting in the booth in the bar, and they have it on the
Hmm.
TV, and so yeah, not much. But I
Not
did
much.
notice they had curling on last night, which is the weirdest looking sport ever.
It is the weirdest, isn't it? Yeah.
And then this morning, I read an article about there's a huge cheating scandal in the competition. Apparently, they think a
People,
certain country, which we will not name, it is not the United States, just our neighbors to the north, that they have like double tapped the thingy when you're not supposed to do that, and they've caught it on video. And oh my goodness gracious, Dee, the curling controversy of the night of the 2026 Winter Olympics.
people in controversy. Big surprise there. Let's get started on
Okay,
the
I'll get us started. Enough about the Olympics. We'd like to know if our listeners are watching the Olympics. I kind of think they aren't, but
especially
anyway,
curling.
yeah. Welcome to the Garden Angelus, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have a suburban garden measured in square feet. It's about a third of an acre.
And I'm Dean Ash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have a large garden out in the country.
We are Garden Angelus. Excuse me for moving that paper in my microphone. We are Garden Angelus because we love gardening, and we want you to love it too.
Yes, we do. And we aren't afraid to spill all our gardening secrets, the good, the bad, and even the ugly. But let's move on to this week's episode. Carol, oh my word, look at the update you have. Let's
It's
go, girl.
it's not that long. Okay. The snow is nearly gone, so we
Yay.
just have the big piles at the end of parking lots and in the shadiest spots of the yard.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't really do any gardening all week, but I went out there and there is a crocus in the lawn. We'll talk about that in my favorites.
Nice. And you went to
So
garden club.
I went to Garden Club. I took 3 books. Where the Old Roses Go by Jeanette McCullough. And I gave that to a member of the club who's in the Rose Society. And she says, I'm going to tell the Rose Society. And I says, by the way, Teresa Byington's the one that told us about the book. I think they already know, but if you'd like to borrow it and read it. And then there's another member who's in her mid 80s, like our friend Pamela Hubbard, and she's very
Hmm.
much into cottage gardens. I showed her the contemporary cottage garden, and she like hugged up, like, "Oh, I'm excited to read this! I can't wait to buy it." And I said, "Just take that one and read it." And I said, "You'll want to buy it for yourself."
Hmm.
And then
And
we have
then,
another member. She is such a good watercolor artist. I've been in her home, and she's beautiful watercolors.
hmm.
She never talks about it, very low key. But I took Shakespeare's Flowers by Jessica Kerr because Anne Ophelia Dowden did all the illustrations. And Jessica Kerr wrote about that book because she was in a garden club. It's a long story. But anyway, but I wouldn't let anybody borrow that one. It's too old. So I brought that one home.
I
Anyway,
have that one. Yeah.
the speaker was an arborist.
Hmm.
And he talked about site selection and, proper planning and the usual stuff. But I got home and I thought, did I plant my ginkgo tree too close to the side of my house? Should I just call somebody and have that taken out before it becomes a big problem? And then I went out and looked at it for a while. And I thought, well, it's not that big yet. I think I'll leave it for a while.
It's like the slowest growing tree, too. It'll probably not be a problem until you and I are long gone.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much my week in the garden. How about
Wow.
you?
I started pruning back the roses, and they had kind of a rough winter for
Yeah,
some
they
reason.
did.
And I posted about it on Instagram. And then I posted a rant on Instagram, which I want to do a whole episode on native or not native. That be the,
That is an excellent idea. That
so
is
I
an
did
excellent
that.
idea.
I was out in the garden a lot this week, and I just did little things, just puttered and tried to let my feet touch grass.
Yes, kind of get in the groove again.
Yeah,
Yes.
trying to remember why I planted certain things where I did, things like that.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
actually really fun. I'm going to work in the garden again tomorrow because the weather's supposed to be beautiful.
Very good. So let's play
Mhm.
favorites. And I already spilled the beans on mine. The first crocuses popped in the yard in Friday. I haven't been out there today. We'll probably do that after we finish recording. We're kind of late on Sunday. It's a little
We're
after 3.
extremely late for us.
But it's always nice to see them. You're reminded that, well, the chipmunks and the squirrels and everybody didn't eat them all. So that's good.
Yeah,
And there'll be more every day. So spring's on its
that's
way.
really great. I'm glad you're able to do that. My favorite could be either the daffodils that just opened or maybe the hellebores. I've got some hellebores I bought last year at Lowe's. They're so pretty. So maybe it's
Yes.
them. They are so pretty. I did a picture of them on my Instagram story because my rant was about, I'll just quickly say, it was basically that I've been taken to task by a couple of people, well, 3 or 4 or 5, on Facebook from my Instagram posts. They always come on and say, that's not native. You're killing all the pollinators. I mean, they're really kind of dramatic people. And I just had enough of it. That my point in my rant was, I think natives are great and I grow a lot of them. But if you only grow natives, you can't grow roses, you can't grow daffodils, you can't grow most bulbs, you can't grow hellebores, you can't grow, you get the picture. So just because something isn't native doesn't mean that it's invasive.
Exactly. And when we talk about the insect of the week, we'll come back to that topic.
Awesome. So do we have a question of the week? Yes, we
You put
do.
this question down. I will ask it
Yeah.
and you will answer it. Hi Dee, I have a
Okay.
question. And then it says it's Mary Lou and Edmund. Is that in Edmund?
In Edmond, yeah.
Those wooden planters that I have in the back that are in a group of 3, I'm going to have them rebuilt because they're starting to bow out on the wood. That happens on bigger
Mhm.
containers. So a
Yeah,
guy's going to
it does.
remake some more sturdier ones for me. I'm going to pull out all the dirt and save it and then add new dirt to it. But my question is, do I use landscape fabric to line it? What do you suggest? I need to line that. If you need a picture, I can send you, et cetera, et cetera. So the basic question is, if you have a wooden container, should you line it with landscape fabric?
I mean, you don't have to. And it doesn't, I've done it both ways. I've lined it with fabric and the fabric actually, and I stapled the fabric up at the top so that it wouldn't fall down when you're putting all that weight of the dirt. That will not stop your containers from bowing out or bowing out. If they're going to do that, it's because they don't have enough reinforcement on the actual wood panel, right? And that happened to me with some of my long raised beds because we didn't think to reinforce in the middle. But some people use landscape fabric so that the dirt doesn't sift through the wood. I
Right?
mean, that's an option. The last ones I made, I didn't do that. I just put the dirt in the wood and let it go, and it's done just fine. You also wrote, when I showed you this question, you said you could also line it with heavy plastic if you wanted to, but be sure and poke lots of holes for drainage, right?
Yeah, I would actually cut big holes. A
I
slit's
would
not going to
too.
do it. I would cut big holes in the bottom for
Mhm.
drainage. But if you were worried about damp, and I still think you would get damp between the plastic and the wood, you just kind of seep in there. So
You're going to
wood,
get damp anyway
yeah,
because you're
wood
going to be
is not,
watering.
yeah, and you don't want to coat the wood with anything because
No,
that
because then
spoil
it's
the
got,
soil.
yeah, yeah,
So wood is not a permanent solution, but it does make for a very nice planter. Now, you
very
want to go
pretty.
fancy. There's
There you
people who
go.
buy those wood planters that have like a metal insert,
Yes, those are nice.
like a galvanized steel insert.
Hmm.
Those are,
Those are
but
very nice too.
those are some bucks.
They are. I mean, gardening isn't cheap. You can do
No.
it cheaply with recycled stuff, but if you're trying to create an organized look, it's not cheap. And anyway, I have the Vago beds and they are really good. I have
Yes,
to say.
they are.
They've done really well and they've held up really well, but they're not cheap. They're expensive.
Now, I did have another question of the week that came through yesterday, and I
Okay.
didn't put it on here. As though it is an annual tradition, my youngest sister texted me yesterday and said, "Can I prune roses now?" And I
Can
said,
you in Indiana? I don't know.
it's really too soon. You really need to wait until like early March. You want to see, I think you want to see some growth starting to come out so you know what's dead and what's alive.
You mean the buds?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit of the buds swelling up. So I told her to wait, but the first warmish day, and that's on a weekend because she works, she's ready to go out there, which I admire that she wants to get
I
out
mean,
there. But
everybody's like that because they're stuck inside or whatever. And I've got a lot of questions of, is it too early to,
yes,
do XYZ? You can start pruning your roses here now because honestly, they don't go completely dormant in Oklahoma anymore,
yeah.
which is crazy. It used to be that you wanted them dormant and then you would cut them back, to the canes that are a pencil and wider. But now, that ship has sailed, so it's different. All right, so let's go do the insect of the week.
So I said for the insect of the week, what's the first insect you usually see in the spring?
Bees.
bees. And for me, it's bees on the crocuses. I don't have a bunch of native flowers all over here that are attracting bees in February. But I can tell you that if it's really sunny and just warm enough
They'll
and
be
those
on.
crocuses are open, there will be bees foraging and getting that
And
pollen.
these are
Okay.
honeybees,
Yes, honeybees. I don't
which
know
are
where they
not
come
native.
from. They're not native, but they sure show up.
Well, they show up. The thing about honeybees is they come out every day for cleansing flights as long as it's 40 degrees and above.
I did not
And
know that.
yeah, well, I did it because I used to keep them. And I used to get criticized for that too, frankly, but that's another story for another day. Honeybees will come out anyway for cleansing flights, but they also are about to starve to death this time of year. So the fact that you have crocuses in your lawn, it really does help them.
And I will see a lot of bees. How about you?
Okay. It's bees, and they're usually on the aranthus, or if I back when I had crocus before everything ate them, they used to be on those too. Just any early blooming flower that has pollen and nectar, they're out.
So
But truthfully, fruit trees are what help them the most.
so anyway, going back to Aranthus, which we talked about
Hmm.
last week, winter
Hmm.
aconite.
Yeah,
People should go back to last week's newsletter. And Kathy Purdy of Cold Climate Gardening, she left a really nice comment about what she did to successfully get winter aconites to grow in her garden.
cool.
And she said she had the best luck if she found somebody who would dig and divide the foliage in the spring with the roots and plant that. And she never really had much success with the bulbs, which are notorious for drying out.
Yeah.
And she said that, I think she said Old House Gardens actually waxed them to try to keep them from drying out before they
Hmm.
sent them. So,
I
anyway,
bought mine from Old House Gardens. Maybe that's why they were somewhat successful. I've got probably 10 in my yard right now. They're very pretty. They
so
finally
that's
started
something
blooming.
to keep in mind. And people, if they want more information, she left a very good comment with that information.
Well, thank you, Kathy.
Now I'm going to do a quote so we can talk about the flower.
Okay.
The February sunshine steeps your boughs and tints the buds and swells the leaves within. William P. Bryant, and you found that in Washington Gardener magazine.
I did. I thought it was really beautiful.
Another friend of ours is the editor, I guess the publisher of that,
Editor, publisher, chief
Kathy
bottle
Gents.
washer. Yeah, Kathy Gents.
Yes. If you live in the Washington, D.C. area, that's the magazine.
Yeah, she's really good and she knows her stuff. Okay, flowers. It's the year of the sedum per National Garden Bureau. And there's a
Yes,
lot of different types of sedums out
there
there.
are,
I grow several of them.
as do I. So the three basic types that I copied, and then we'll talk about ours, is the upright autumn stone crops, they call them.
Yeah.
Se-
Autumn Joy is one of them.
Yes, I have Autumn Joy. There's
Uh-huh.
some variegated varieties, and my variegated have all reverted to green.
Yeah, I can't grow the variegated ones.
And so I have them here and there, and I've dug and divided them, and they're an easy plant to dig and divide. They
They
are
like
very shallow
dry.
rooted. Pardon?
They like dry weather.
They like dry weather, and they're nice to see in the fall, and they're covered with pollinators in the fall. Yeah.
And painted lady and American lady butterflies love them.
Yes. And then there is the compact clumping sedum, which I thought, this is one that gets about 12 inches in height, kind of has a clump. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, you know what? I have those in
Do you?
front. Yes. And I never knew what the name of it was, but they have a limey green leaf and they have a beautiful yellow flower.
Oh, I grow those too.
Yeah. And so, sometimes they're like in the wrong spot and I've just ripped them out.
Yeah, I do that too because actually they're growing in my gravel path on the edge. And so they move around and do their own thing. And I love them. I think they're beautiful.
They are beautiful and they're a nice punctuation out there.
Yep.
And then the other one that everyone's familiar with is the ground cover sedums.
Yep. I've grown
Now,
both of these.
pause, Dee. I know you are really tired. We're on
I am
video
tired.
too.
I'm tired.
You just yawned.
I'm
Now,
sorry. I don't mean to yawn. I'm really tired.
you are.
Bill has
You're-
not been sleeping well. And when Bill doesn't sleep well, Dee doesn't sleep well. All right. So then the ground cover ones, they create a carpet of foliage, and very popular ones are Angelina. I have Angelina.
I
I've
think I
tried to
have
grow
Angelina.
blue spruce. I had no luck with it.
Blue spruce is a dang weed around here.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that funny? And I'll
The
tell you
garden's
what, blue
different.
spruce, my sister that lives in a condo and has lived in a condo for, I don't know, 20 years.
Oh, I see right here where you said blue spruce is like easy to dig and divide. Ad infinitum.
Yes. Well, she had lived when she lived in a house before they moved to the condo.
Hmm.
She had some, and I just took a hunk of it, and so I've got a bunch of it. It's around the Japanese lilac maple and front, or Japanese lilac, not maple, Japanese lilac tree in
Uh-huh.
front, and then it's in a couple other spots, and I just kind of let it grow. It's on both sides of the garage, and
Wow.
it's just like I pull it out by the big handfuls, and sometimes I just throw it away. Easy peasy.
Cool. There's nothing to talk about. See, I mean, sedums do okay in my yard. Some of it's a little too watered. They don't like clay soil. Most of my soil isn't clay, but I water too much for them. There's a
Yeah.
few that do okay. I mean, I really do better with the prostrate ones.
Yes. And most of them, if and we're going to link to the National Garden Bureau's page because I'm reminded they have a sedum that's black. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I have that sedum. I think I got a start from it at like a conference.
Yeah, we got it at Garden Com.
It's not a fast, vigorous grower by any
No,
stretch.
black plants don't tend to be very vigorous. They're a little bit like variegated plants. They tend to just
Yes.
hang out there and not do much. I
Now,
don't know whatever happened to mine. I had it for a while and then it was gone. And I said, oh, well, because it's not real showy.
well, and then the other sedum that I have, because most of the sedums do like full sun, they like it on the dry side, like you said. You would
Mhm.
not mulch your sedum for any.
No. Uh-uh.
But I have the sedum tatarica, which grows in the shade,
Huh.
which is nice. And
Yeah,
it
it is
has like a
nice.
little white flower, and I have it growing around the honey locust in the shade. And it's just something nice to have, a little bit different. Trying to encourage it as a ground cover. Some years it's a little sparser than others, but it's another one that's easy to dig and divide and keep it going. So, and I
Cool.
let some sedum grow around the steps of the patio because I think it looks neat in the cracks of the steps of the patio. Anyway, you're the sedum.
There you go.
Let's do
I'll do,
vegetables.
I'll do a quote. This game is an inspiration to place yourself in natural circumstances that will yield a heavenly bird, blessing your year, your perspective, your imagination, your spirit. And that is from New Year First Bird by Lyanda Lynn Haupt. And it actually was from the book Rare Encounters with Ordinary Birds. So it's the game is to try to figure out New Year which first birds you see. I thought it was
Huh.
kind of a good idea. It was in that book, The Comfort of Crows. That's where.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Okay, vegetables. Should you grow weird, fancy varieties or tried and true, pro and con? Oh, well, I used to grow lots of different fancy ones.
And,
Used to. Well, while fun, you don't get very much yield. I mean, your yield goes down.
or you could have a bust because it's weird and fancy and it's not tried and
Well,
true.
that's what I mean by your yield goes down.
Yes.
Weird and fancy generally means it's not a big producer because if it was a big producer, it would not be weird.
So here's the funny thing when I went to look this stuff up, Dee,
Yeah.
and to come up with examples, and I have three. So in the green
Okay.
bean category,
Well,
it
this one,
said that tried and true would be like provider, and weird and fancy would be dragon tongue.
I've grown dragon tongue many times. And it
Dragon
is,
tongue is an heirloom.
yeah, it's an heirloom, but it is weird and fancy.
Yes. It's
It's
a
a
yellow
weird, fancy
pod
heirloom.
with
Yeah, it's
purple
purple and green.
stripes.
Yeah.
So I thought, huh. So what is weird and fancy does not mean new.
Not necessarily.
And then the next example I got was, okay, let's look at cucumbers. And
Okay.
so to me, Space Master would be tried and true, or because it's a bush type.
Yeah, just a basic cucumber.
And lemon cucumber would be weird and fancy, but
But
lemon cucumber is an heirloom variety.
yeah, it's an old variety. I've grown it many times. And it
So
does really well, actually.
and then there was many tomato examples like Brandywine
Yeah.
versus I'll just go with Big Boy, which is old, but something that
Mhm.
produces a lot. And I'm just like,
Rutgers, but it's also
okay,
kind of old too.
yeah. Or, even I don't know. It just got to be where it's like we've been given so many types of vegetables that produce a lot,
Uh-huh.
but and the reason people grow them over and over and over, and we're all growing like provider green beans is because they produce a lot.
Right.
But if you want something different that you can't like go to the farmer's market, I guess that's when you'd get into the weird stuff.
Well, and dragon tongue produces a lot. But the thing you have to know about dragon tongue, have you grown it?
No.
Okay, I've grown it a lot. The thing about dragon tongue is it's a flat bean. It's more like an Italian green bean, and it, of course, turns this kind of yellow green when you cook it, but it looks purple and green, yellowish green when it's, on the plant. And as it grows, it gets a little more yellow. But it's a good, strong heirloom to grow. I mean, you can get a lot of beans off of it. It's just, do you want a flat Italian bean? Because that's what it looks like.
Right.
Whereas Provider is a basic green bean, or Blue Lake is a basic green bean. They're, heirloom, I like your question here. How did heirloom veggies become weird and fancy?
Because they brought in bigger, better stuff, and we all went to the bigger, better stuff. And so,
Well, they brought in canning vegetables for one thing, because some
yes,
of the
they did.
tomato varieties were created specifically to can because they produce the bulk of their food all at one time.
Right.
So some of this, I don't know. I was thinking about that. And I was also thinking about parsley and last week's episode
Right.
where what Matt said about how the actual parsley that we eat in the store is stiff and, it's made to ship.
Made to ship,
harvest.
made to store, made to sit
Yeah.
under fluorescent lights. Pretty.
And that's kind of true of everything. I mean, all the apples are that way.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's made that way, right? So weird and fancy, with the positive side of it is you're growing things that nobody else is going to have.
Exactly. And also, I would like to give a shout out for those people who do keep weird and fancy, the old heirlooms that are keeping those alive and going, saving seed every year and making that available so that if you do want to go back and, like when I had those weird ideas, like I'll plant a vegetable garden as though it's 1930. So every variety has to be available from 1930 back. It's good to have those.
For your lettuce year, the lettuce
Year of lettuce, when I grew lettuce like it was 1957. And you know
Yeah.
what? Dee, I had a pretty good lettuce year.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't know if it's because I paid more attention to growing lettuce than I normally just throw the seed out and wait to see what happens, or whether they were actually better varieties. I just don't know.
I looked out in my garden yesterday because I was putting some water in the fountain, and my garlic's all up and doing really well. But then I looked over to the left, and there was some really pretty spinach out there that I put
Nice.
out in the fall, and it overwintered. And so now it's ready to eat. And I was like, I should pick that spinach because I don't always have luck with spinach, especially if I grow it in the spring.
Very nice.
I think you should plant what you want to plant and not worry about it.
Yes. Did you write down that last comment?
Which one? Plant both?
Our advice, plant both.
Probably.
Yeah, because I don't think I wrote that.
I think you should plant what you want to plant. Plant both.
Yes.
All right, there you go. Now it's time for a quote.
Keep your faith in beautiful things in the sun when it is hidden, in the spring when it is gone. Roy R. Gibson. I think we had that one last week.
Did we? Well, we did it again then.
I guess.
Or maybe we just planned it last week and it seemed like we did it twice.
I don't know. There's another quote coming up like, did we do that quote? So I have the book this week.
I don't. You do. Yeah.
I do. I got it out of the library. Gardenista, The Low Impact Garden, A Guide to Creating Sustainable Outdoor Spaces. It's by Kendra Wilson with the editors of Gardenista.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about a low impact garden.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking before about how gardening can be really expensive.
Yeah, it can.
It's like a lead into this where they're talking about ways to basically spend a little less and have a nice garden.
Right.
And it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be when I got it out of the library, because I was thinking about drought gardens. Where are you going, Dee? Come back, Dee.
I'm right here.
Okay.
I just noticed that my closet doors were open and it looked terrible, so I fixed it.
Oh, okay.
There,
Okay.
see? Doesn't that look better? See?
Yes. But they have all kinds of environmentally friendly ways to do things. And I thought, well, this is going to be, like Southern California desert, that kind of thing. They actually
Yeah.
profiled gardens across the country. I actually thought it was going to be British for a while, and it's like, no, they profiled gardens all across the country, and they just have a lot of really interesting ideas about how to have less impact on the environment and on your land by doing certain things. So I think it's a pretty good resource for if you're planting a garden or wanting to make major changes to your garden, or you have a particular type of garden you want to try to make it less worky, I guess.
Less worky.
And
Hmm.
they have a lot of ideas in here about how you can reuse some things. You know, it's got the usual stuff
Yep.
about composting and do it yourself hose marker, for example, where they used like old tools and things or old golf clubs or something to make a, instead of just going out and buying the latest and greatest from China, which is a good idea. Natural drainage systems, how to, fix drainage in your property if that's a problem. Using keystone species, that's a big thing, to bring in pollinators and different things like that. Actually, Dee, I don't know why we didn't get this book to review. And I'm like, huh.
I wonder why we didn't.
Well, probably because we don't know this publisher. But it is very good. It is by Artisan in New York.
It
I
sounds like it's
really,
wonderful. I
yeah,
like Gardenista.
yeah. So the chapters are garden visits, 12 low impact landscapes, and that's where they go across and you see a variety of things. Functional gardens, new ideas for age-old situations, low impact elements, demystifying grass, trees, and shrubs, native plants, soil, and water. The Gardenista 50, which is favorite garden equipment for everyday use. And then ecology simplified, small habits that make a big difference, that make a difference. So this is a good book. I've been looking through it off and on this week. I'm going to hit a couple more chapters on this. I don't have to take it back to the library until March, and I'll probably keep it until then and keep looking at it.
It
Good one.
sounds like a really good book.
And so
That is.
go ahead.
You want me to read the title again? I got to scroll back up to it because I scrolled down a little bit. Gardenista, the Low Impact Garden, a guide to create a sustainable outdoor spaces by Kendra Wilson with the editors of Gardenista, photographs by Caitlin Atkinson.
There you go. That's the book
Looks
this
good.
week.
I like it. Okay, my quote. Late February and the air's so balmy, snowdrops and crocuses might be fooled into early blooming. Yes. Then the inevitable blizzard will come, blighting our harbingers of spring, and the numbed yards will go back under cover. In Florida, it's strawberry season. Shortcake, waffles, berries, and cream will be penciled on the coffee shop menus. And then this is by Gail Mazur, The Idea of Florida During a Winter Thaw.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, here, yes, everything's blooming. It's been like so, so warm. We were really, really cold, and then suddenly basically it's acting like late March here.
It's kind of acting like February here, I think.
Okay, so you came up with another GMO story, and this one says prickle-free plants, which, by the way, here's a little tidbit for those who don't know. Roses don't have thorns.
They have prickles.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I quote, by identifying a key gene that controls prickles in eggplant, because there's prickles.
Yes, I've gotten them in my fingers before.
Our team was able to use gene editing to mutate the same gene in other prickly species, yielding smooth, prickle-free plants. In addition to eggplants, we got rid of prickles in a desert-adapted wild plant species with edible raisin-like fruit. We also used a virus to silence the expression of a closely related gene in roses, yielding a rose without thorns. Then it went on to say, in natural settings, prickles defend plants against grazing herbivores, but under cultivation, edited plants would be easier to handle, and after harvest, fruit damage would be reduced.
True.
It's worth noting that prickle-free plants still retain their defenses, such as their chemical-laden epidermal hairs called trichomes that deter insect pests. So, I don't know about this, Dee. They talked a little bit about, the petunia, the luminescent petunia, and that purple tomato that they cross with. What did they cross that with? Snapdragons? Yeah. They got genes from Snapdragon.
It's been a long time that we've talked about
think.
that, but I think so, yeah.
The glowing petunia was genes from the lightning bugs, fireflies.
Yes. Yes, it was, which was really weird because then you're doing
Yes.
interspecies, not just, yeah.
So the article does end with a cautionary note. Says
Always.
that genetically modified plants, when they enter the consumer market, there is less control over them, which could lead to unknown problems later on. What say you, Dee? I say we move on and let our listeners decide for
Yeah, I
themselves
don't
and read
want
the
to. No
article.
more controversy for me this week. I'm done. All right, do the next quote.
Away in a meadow all covered with snow, the little old groundhog looks for a shadow. The clouds in the sky determine our fate, if winter will leave us early or late. Don Haley. We should have done that one a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I don't rely on the rodent.
I don't either. That's the dumbest thing ever. A rabbit holes. I don't have one this week. I've been too busy.
I've been busy, but I do have a
Next week,
rabbit hole.
people will know why.
Okay. True. Yeah, that's called a teaser, D.
It's a teaser, all right.
Okay, so I was talking to my aunt on my drive home from Garden Club, which
Yeah.
took forever. Traffic, train. Anyway, she told me that the Spencer County Library down in Spencer County, Indiana, had digitized all the newspapers from all the little towns from 1844 to like 1990s or something. I don't know. So I started digging through those, and I discovered that my grandmother was a member of the Apron Springs Demonstration Club. Have you ever heard of this demonstration
No,
club?
no, I don't even know.
It's home
Did it
demonstration
teach
club.
women how to
So
their
it was
poems or
the
what?
Cooperative Extension Service came up with this in the early 1900s. Quote, their goal was to teach farm women in rural America better methods for getting their work done in areas such as gardening, canning, nutrition, and sewing, and to encourage them to improve their families' living conditions. So the home demonstration agents would work with local clubs to provide education. And so I saw a clip where my grandmother spoke about houseplants at one of the meetings and also
Mm-hmm.
gave the safety report or the safety tip. I don't know. They had a safety thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun. And I was like, I need to look into those because I also saw, remember years ago we talked about canning clubs
Mm-hmm.
where my grandmother was a member of a canning club when she was a teenager.
Yeah, because they were teaching them how to can. Yeah, keep it
Yes.
alive.
And they would
Yeah.
have goals as to how many cans they came up with. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, that was all fun. And then I've started in on another lost lady. This one's a humorist.
Ooh,
So
cool.
I'll have her out on Wednesday when this podcast comes out.
Okay,
And
cool.
then I started reading this other thing, Dee, and I've got in my mind. Remember we talked about we can do hard things?
Yep. Like learning
They
Bulgarian.
or they had a thing.
Mnogo dobre.
Yes.
That means very good. It's hard. Yeah, hard things. Yes, we can do them.
How to memorize a poem.
It's hard.
I know. And so, but I printed off the instructions here on how to how to memorize a poem.
Yep.
It goes a page and a half. But I thought I'm going to pick a poem out and I'm going to memorize it.
Okay, please do.
So, do you have a suggestion for a poem?
I suggest one that has stanzas and rhyming words because it's easier.
I think you're right. So,
I know it is because I've memorized poems.
yes, it's been a long time since I've had to memorize anything. So, I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn how to memorize a poem.
Okay, do
All
it.
right.
I'll keep working on Bulgarian,
You keep working on
which is really
Bulgarian.
hard. Okay, shall we go to the garden to visit?
A garden to visit.
I came up with this one because I remembered it really well. It was the Mission Garden in Tucson. And the Mission Garden is a museum and it's set in the Sonoran Desert area of Tucson or right adjacent to it. And it's to teach people about Sonoran Desert related and adapted heritage fruit trees, traditional local crops, including rainbow corn. We saw rainbow corn there, and also edible native plants. We had flour from that tree that I cannot think of the name of it right now. It's a famous tree that grows there, but it's not one that was native. It was one that was brought there and it's almost invasive, but people take the nuts from it and they make it into flour, which I actually bought some of it and used it. And it's considered a gluten-free flour.
Yeah.
So,
Now I don't remember that. When I look back on this, I'm like the Mission Garden, because
It was down kind of in I mean, like it had a big fence around it, remember? And native people came and talked to us about different plants. It was really interesting.
I think that I got so stuck on the rainbow corn that I didn't hear anything after that.
Rainbow corn was really cool. And remember
Yeah.
they had like a seed bank and they had seeds there that were available for purchase.
Yes.
It was a very cool place. Very
Yes,
cool.
it was a very cool place.
That's the Mission Garden in Tucson, Arizona, which has been in the news a lot lately for a very sad thing. But
Right.
Tucson is a beautiful little town or small city, and we loved our visit there. I
Yes,
loved
and
the
so
hotel
if
we
you
stayed in.
find yourself in Tucson, you want to go to the Mission Garden, and we will put a link to that website for that so people can see. It's managed by a group called Friends of Tucson's Birthplaces.
Okay. I'm
Okay,
looking at that tree because I can't remember what that tree is.
what is
Mesquite.
that?
It was mesquite.
Okay.
Yeah, mesquite. I think they
Okay.
pronounce it that way. And you can get mesquite flour. So that was really
Yes.
cool.
And I just remember every tree we saw had the tiniest, narrowest leaves to preserve moisture.
Right. And they also had the leaves tended to be, they had a waxy coating on them.
Right.
Because
And they
that
were
also
grayish
retains
green.
moisture. And do you remember all the barrel cactus? We saw a lot of barrel cacti while we were there too.
And the other thing they told us is keep drinking water. You might not think you're thirsty. Keep drinking
But you
water.
are totally thirsty. They told us that in California too when we were at that.
Keep drinking.
All right, garden commissions. My garden commission is to keep on working on the roses because,
Roses got a rose.
Yeah,
right.
Rose.
So I need to make progress on seed starting, or I'll fall into the abyss of no seeds started like you, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to memorize that poem. I do want to find a suitable garden-related poem. We can do hard things. Keep my microgreens growing, keep my houseplants going, and just, another week of winter. Heading into spring.
Oh, goodness. That brings us to the end of our episode.
Already? I hope people are okay with that. Thank you for listening to The Garden Angelist. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Be sure and follow us on Apple Podcasts. That does help get us noticed by others.
If you subscribe to our Substack newsletter, you'll get a link to listen to the podcast a whole day early, and you get links to products we discuss. Plus, go over to YouTube and see us in person. Full episodes show up on Tuesdays. So if you can't wait until Wednesday, you now have 2 ways to get episodes on Tuesdays.
And if you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we're in a small commission and it costs you nothing.
Or you are welcome to set up a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout or make a one-time donation through PayPal. You also have the option of pledging your support on Substack. We appreciate all of it.
Thank you to everyone who has done so. It helps us pay for podcast hosting.
It was lovely to chat with all of you over the Garden Gate. Bye until next week.
Bye, everybody.